Ambassador Hannah Kim walked into the great hall of the Galactic Council. The ceiling stretched high above her head like a crystal cave. Purple lights danced across the walls. She had been Earth's voice here for 10 long years. Today felt different. Around her sat beings from across the galaxy. The Zeltharians looked like walking diamonds, their bodies made of living crystal. They hummed softly as they moved. The Vorthack floated like colored smoke in glass containers. Their voices came through speakers that made them sound hollow and cold. The klaxon clicked and buzzed, their bug-like faces twitching as they watched her. Hannah took her place at the human section, one small chair in a room of hundreds. She looked up at the voting board. The numbers glowed bright red, 847 votes for the motion, 1 vote against. Only Earth had said no. Speaker Vexthurian rose from the center platform. Its crystal body caught the light and threw rainbows across the room. When it spoke, its voice rang like broken glass. The motion passes, it announced. The species called humans will stay in their home system only. They cannot expand to other worlds. This is for their own good. Murmurs of approval rippled through the hall. The klaxon clicked louder. The Vorthack smoke swirled in what might have been satisfaction. Humans are too young, Vexthurian continued. They fight too much. They want too many things. They are like children playing with fire. We must guide them until they learn proper behavior. Hannah felt heat rise in her chest. For 10 years she had listened to words like these. Earth was too violent. Humans were too eager. They needed to be controlled, managed, taught how to be civilized like the older races. She stood up. The hall grew quiet. Speaking after a vote was unusual. Most delegates simply accepted the council's wisdom and went home. Honor Council, Hannah said, her voice carrying clearly through the vast space. I have listened to your words for many years. Today, I understand something important. She walked to the speaking platform in the center. Her boots made sharp sounds on the crystal floor. Every eye in the room watched her. Earth came to this council seeking friends, she said. We wanted to share what we had learned. We wanted to learn from you. We hope to build something together, as equals working toward common goals. The Zeltharian section hummed with what sounded like disapproval. A Vorthack delegate's smoke turned a darker shade of green. Instead, we found teachers who think we are students forever, parents who think we are children who cannot grow up, wardens who think we are prisoners who need guards. Her voice grew stronger. You see our curiosity and call it dangerous. You see our energy and call it violence. You see our dreams and call them impossible. Speaker Vexthurian's crystal body pulsed brighter. Delegate Kim, this decision is final. It is for the good of galactic peace. Peace, Hannah repeated. You mean your comfort, your control, your fear of anything that might change your perfect, ordered galaxy. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the small blue pin that marked her as Earth's ambassador. The metal felt warm in her fingers. She had worn it with pride for a decade. I came here believing that intelligence meant working together. I believed that civilization meant helping each other grow. I was wrong about what this council represents. The hall erupted. Delegates shouted in a dozen different languages. The klaxons clicking became angry buzzing. The Vorthack smoke swirled in agitated patterns. Hannah placed a pin on the speaking platform. It made a tiny sound that somehow carried through all the noise. Therefore, Earth formally withdraws from the Galactic Council. We refuse to be caged by those who have forgotten what it means to explore, to grow, to reach for something better. The shouting stopped. The hall fell silent, except for the soft humming of the building systems. We thank you for one thing, Hannah continued. You have shown us that we must find our own path, that we cannot wait for permission to become what we might be. She turned and walked toward the great doors. Behind her, Speaker Vexthurian called out, This is foolish pride, Delegate Kim. Humans cannot survive alone. You will return begging for our help. You will learn that you need our guidance. Hannah stopped at the doorway. The stars were visible through the transparent walls, scattered like diamonds across the black of space. So many worlds, so many possibilities. Perhaps, she said without turning around, but we would rather fail as free beings and succeed as pets. She walked out into the corridor. Already, her communicator was buzzing with messages from human ships in orbit. The evacuation had begun. Every human diplomat, trader, and visitor was leaving Council space. The galaxy spread before them, vast and unknown. For the first time in 10 years, Hannah smiled. Behind her, the Council continued their session as if nothing had changed. They voted on trade regulations and territorial disputes, comfortable in their ancient routines. They did not yet understand that everything had changed, that humanity's real journey was just beginning. Captain Jywin Park stared at the world below through the bridge windows. Kepler 442c looked like a nightmare planet. Dark clouds swirled around mountains that glowed red with heat. The gravity was so strong it would crush most beings flat. The air was poison. The Galactic Council had marked this world with a red warning. Uninhabitable. Do not land. Perfect, Jywin whispered. 6 months had passed since humanity left the Council. 6 months of planning, building, and changing. The Exodus Protocol was not just about leaving. It was about proving that humans could live anywhere. Captain, said Lieutenant Miho Choi from his station, the first wave of colonists is ready. They have completed the treatments. Jywin nodded. The treatments were Dr. Nari Lee's miracle. She had found ways to change human bodies quickly. Stronger bones for heavy gravity. Better lungs for bad air. Tougher skin for radiation. What used to take thousands of years of evolution now took weeks. On the planet's surface, the first humans were already working. Through his enhanced vision, Jywin watched them move easily in the crushing gravity. They breathed the poison air through special filters built into their changed lungs. Where other species saw death, humans were building a home. Sir, we have reports from other colony fleets, said Communications Officer Unisong. 17 successful landings, all on worlds the Council called impossible. Jywin smiled. Each world was different. Commander Hyungjin Ryu was setting up mines on a planet soaked in deadly radiation. His people had been changed to eat radiation like plants eat sunlight. On an ice world, humans with thick fur and antifreeze blood were building cities in frozen oceans. The best part was the children. Kids born on these impossible worlds were already different from their parents. They grew up thinking crushing gravity was normal. They played in radiation storms. They swam in liquid methane. Captain, incoming message from the research station. Yuna announced. Dr. Seong Kim's face appeared on the screen. She was calling from a space station built inside an asteroid field that would shred normal ships. Her team had learned to use the flying rocks as protection and building materials. Jywin, you need to see this, she said, excitement clear in her voice. We have visitors. The screen shifted to show the outside of her station. 3 Council survey ships hung at a safe distance, clearly afraid to come closer to the dangerous asteroid field. How long have they been watching? Jywin asked. 2 days. They just sit there, scanning everything. I think they are trying to figure out how we survive here. Jywin laughed. Let them watch. Let them learn what free humans can do. But the Council ships were not the only visitors. Engineer Ji-hyun Moon reported from the colony on New Titan that strange traders have been asking questions. Small merchant ships from species that had never talked to humans before. They want to know about our adaptation techniques. Ji-hyun said during the next briefing. Some of them are asking if we can help their people survive on harsh worlds too. This was unexpected. The Council had painted humans as dangerous and wild. But these smaller species saw something different. They saw opportunity. Yuna interrupted with an urgent message. Captain, we have a situation developing in the Kepler system. Klaxon military ships are approaching the new Busan colony. Jywin felt his blood grow cold. The Klaxon Hive was one of the Council's strongest military powers. Their bug-like warriors were feared across the galaxy. If they were testing human defenses, it meant the Council was getting nervous. Get me General Daehyun Shin, he ordered. The general's face appeared on screen moments later. He was calling from New Busan, the colony built on a world of living crystal and high radiation. Behind him, Jywin could see colonists who looked more like living gems than regular humans. The radiation had changed them in beautiful ways. General, what is your status? The Klaxon ships are keeping their distance, but they are clearly studying our defenses. I think they are planning to test us. Can you handle them? General Shin smiled, and his crystal-like teeth caught the light. Captain, the Klaxon fight like machines. Very organized, very predictable. But they have never faced humans who turn poison planets into weapons. 3 hours later, the test came. Klaxon warriors landed on New Busan, expecting to find scared colonists hiding in bunkers. Instead, they found humans who used the planet's crystal formations like deadly spears. The radiation that should have killed the colonists made them stronger. The crushing gravity that should have stopped them became their advantage. The Klaxon retreat was fast and complete. Within hours, reports spread through Council space about humans who seemed to change and adapt during battle itself. Jaiwan stood on his bridge, watching ships full of human families heading to their new homes on impossible worlds. Children pressed their faces against windows, excited to see planets where they would grow stronger and stranger than any humans before them. The Council had tried to cage humanity in their home system. Instead, they had forced humans to become something the galaxy had never seen before, something that could live anywhere, adapt to anything, and turn the impossible into home. Behind them, Council space continued its comfortable routines. Ahead lay infinite possibilities. 3 years passed without a single word from human space. Trade Minister Gexnaleth floated nervously in his glass container, his smoke-like body shifting colors as he spoke to Council Intelligence Committee. The other delegates watched him with growing concern. "We have received no messages from human territories," he reported. "No call for help. No request for supplies. No communication at all." Counselor Vexthurian's crystal body pulsed with dismissive light. "They are being stubborn children. Soon they will come crawling back, begging us to take them home." But the reports told a different story. Captain Sung-Ho Park of the merchant ship Lucky Star brought back news that made the Council delegates shift uncomfortably in their seats. "I visited the edge of human space last month," Captain Park told the secret meeting at Omega 7 Trading Station. "What I saw was impossible." The insectoid trader Kieranvel clicked his mandibles nervously. "Tell us what you witnessed." "Worlds that should be graveyards are full of cities. Humans living on planets where the air burns your lungs. Children playing in radiation that would kill us in minutes. They are not just surviving. They are happy." Captain Park activated a holographic display, showing images from his trip. The Council delegates stared in shock at cities built inside active volcanoes, farms growing in toxic soil, humans swimming in seas of liquid methane. "How is this possible?" whispered Counselor Yithkaren. "They change themselves," Park explained. "Each world creates new kinds of humans. On the ice planet, they have fur and never feel cold. On the radiation world, they glow like stars, and the deadly rays make them stronger." The silence stretched uncomfortably. Finally, Gexnaleth spoke. "Perhaps we should send an official contact mission." "No," Vexthurian said firmly. "They will return when they realize they need us." But humans seem to need nothing from Council space. The Vordhak Merchant Guild reported that human colonies traded only with each other, and a few brave independent traders. Human ships never entered Council territory. It was as if they had forgotten the galaxy beyond their own worlds. The first real test came when General Claxton of the Hive military decided to expand into what had once been human space. The planet New Busan had valuable crystal deposits. Since the humans had been silent for 3 years, he assumed they were weak and dying. He was wrong. General Daehyun Shin had been waiting for someone to test human resolve. When the Klaxon battle fleet approached New Busan, they expected to find a small, desperate colony ready to surrender. Instead, they found something that changed their understanding of warfare forever. The humans did not hide in bunkers. They did not call for evacuation. The colonists, their bodies adapted to the planet's deadly radiation and crystal formations, fought back in ways that broke every rule of civilized combat. They used the planet itself as a weapon. The crystal mountains became giant spears launched by gravitational slings. The radiation storms that should have killed everyone became cover for human fighters who absorbed the deadly energy and turned it into strength. Lieutenant Yuki Nam led a squad of crystal-adapted humans through formations that would have shredded normal troops. Her skin had become like living diamond, reflecting laser fire back at attackers. Her bones were harder than steel, letting her leap between crystal peaks that crumbled under the weight of Klaxon war machines. But it was Sergeant Minjae Seo who became the legend that spread through Council space. When a Klaxon heavy fighter cornered a group of human children, he threw himself directly into the path of its plasma cannon. The radiation that should have killed him instead supercharged his adapted cells. He became a living weapon of pure energy, destroying the enemy fighter with his bare hands. The Klaxon retreat was swift and complete. Within hours, stories spread through Council space faster than official reports could contain them. Stories of humans who seemed to evolve during battle, who turned hostile environments into deadly advantages, who fought in ways that no civilized species would consider. Dr. Yunji Moon watched the battle reports from her laboratory on Titan 7. Around her, the latest group of colonist volunteers completed their environmental adaptations. Some grew thick shells for underwater cities. Others developed enhanced lungs for high-altitude mountain colonies. "They called us too violent," she said to her assistant, Jean Wu Li. "They said we were too aggressive. But they never understood that humans do not fight despite hostile environments. We fight because of them." On distant monitoring stations throughout Council space, intelligence officers compiled increasingly worried reports. Human expansion had not slowed after their exile. It had accelerated. They were claiming worlds in the most dangerous sectors of space, creating an empire built on adaptability and determination. Most disturbing of all were the reports from smaller species. The outer colonies Eltharians had sent secret messages asking about human adaptation techniques. Independent merchants reported that dozens of minor species were requesting information about joining human colonies. The silence from human space was not the quiet of defeat. It was a silence of confidence. While the council debated and argued in their comfortable chambers, humanity had become something new and strange and powerful. And the galaxy was starting to notice. The warning signal screamed across space like a dying animal. Admiral So-Young Kong heard it first at her monitoring station on the edge of human territory. Her enhanced hearing, adapted for the electromagnetic storms of her base world, picked up the terror in the automated message. Ancient enemy confirmed. Devourer fleet has returned. All council forces engage immediately. Request emergency assistance from any available allies. So-Young stared at the message display. The Devourer fleet was a nightmare from old stories. Machines built by a dead civilization millions of years ago. They had eaten entire star systems before the council was even formed. Everyone thought they were gone forever. "Ma'am," said Communications Officer Tae-Min Young, his voice tight with worry. "We are receiving battle reports from 17 council worlds. The news is very bad." The tactical displays showed the horrible truth. Council fleets were being destroyed faster than they could form battle lines. The Zeltharian crystal ships, pride of the galaxy, were being cut apart like glass toys. The Vordhack energy weapons had no effect on Devourer armor. The mighty Klaxon war fleets lasted minutes against the ancient machines. So-Young watched the casualty reports climb. Millions dead. Entire fleets gone. The Devourers fought with cold perfection, learning from each battle and adapting faster than the Council could change tactics. "Ma'am, the Council is broadcasting on all emergency frequencies," Tae-Min reported. "They are begging for help from anyone who will listen." For a moment, So-Young thought about the last 3 years. The insults, the exile, the Council's certainty that humans were too violent, too dangerous for civilized space. Now those same leaders were screaming for help from the species they had thrown away. She could ignore the call. Let the Council face their ancient enemy alone. It would be justice. Instead, she opened a command channel to all human forces. "This is Admiral So-Young Kong to all Colonial Defense Fleet commanders. We are going to war." The human response was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships designed for the impossible worlds humans now call home gathered from across their scattered territories. Vessels built to fight in radiation storms, navigate through gravity wells that would crush normal ships, operate in the empty cold of space where no sane species would venture. Captain Byam-Johan commanded the lead squadron from the bridge of the Resilience. His ship had been built in the orbital yards around a black hole, its hull designed to survive forces that would flatten Council vessels. His crew was adapted for extreme combat, enhanced reflexes, radiation resistance, the ability to function under crushing acceleration. When the human fleet arrived at the Shattered Ring, the site of the largest battle, they found chaos. Devourer ships moved through the debris field like sharks, hunting down the scattered remains of Council forces. The ancient machines fought with mechanical precision, their tactics refined over millions of years. The humans did something no Council species would consider. Instead of maintaining safe formation distances, they charged directly into the most dangerous areas of the battlefield. Commander Lee-Jun Kim led his squadron straight into the radiation belt surrounding the system's dying star. The cosmic storm that would fry normal electronics made his adapted crew stronger. They used the radiation as camouflage, hiding their approach until they were close enough to ram Devourer vessels with their reinforced hulls. But it was Captain Jae-Sung Woo who showed the galaxy what desperation and human ingenuity could accomplish. When his ship Indomitable took critical damage, he made a decision that would become legend. "All hands, prepare for ramming speed," he announced his crew. These were humans adapted for high-gravity worlds. Their bones like steel, their organs protected by extra muscle and cartilage. The Indomitable drove straight into the largest Devourer command ship. The impact would have killed any normal crew instantly. Instead, Jae-Sung's people survived the collision and fought their way through the enemy vessel's corridors, using their enhanced strength and endurance to tear apart ancient machinery with their bare hands. The Devourer command ship exploded from within, taking a dozen escort vessels with it. Across the battle zone, other human captains saw what Jae-Sung had done and followed his example. They fought in asteroid fields that would crush normal ships. They used radiation storms as weapons. They turned the deadly environment of space itself into their ally. The mechanical Devourers, for all their ancient wisdom, had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that thrived in conditions that should kill them. An enemy that used chaos and impossibility as tactics. For the first time in millions of years, the Devourer fleet began to retreat. General Shin, watching from his command ship, saw something that made his crystal-adapted heart race with excitement. The ancient machines were running. The unstoppable force that had eaten civilizations was fleeing from humans who refused to accept that anything was impossible. "Signal all human forces," he ordered. "Pursue and engage. Show them that some things in this galaxy do not fear the dark." As human ships chased the Devourers into the empty spaces between stars, news of the impossible victory spread across Council space. The species had been exiled as too violent had just saved the galaxy. Everything was about to change. 2 months after the Great Battle, a long line of Council ships approached New Terra. The human capital world hung impossibly between 3 brown dwarf stars, its cities glowing like jewels in the deadly radiation that should have killed everything living. Ambassador Hannah Kim stood in the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching the approaching fleet. She was older now, her hair silver from years of cosmic radiation exposure, but her eyes burned brighter than ever. Beside her, Admiral So-Young Kong studied the formal diplomatic request on her tablet. "They want everything back the way it was," So-Young said with a laugh. "Full Council membership, territorial rights, even a permanent seat on the Security Council. They act like they're doing us a favor." Hannah smiled, looking out at the impossible city where human children played in radiation storms that would kill most galactic species in seconds. Engineers floated freely in the cosmic fire between the stars, their adapted bodies feeding on energy that others called deadly poison. The Council delegation was led by former Speaker Vexterian. The great crystal being's body showed new cracks and dark spots, signs of the stress and fear from the Devourer attack. When they met in the diplomatic chambers, the delegation looked tired and desperate. "Director Kim," Vexterian began carefully, "the Council acknowledges that perhaps we made errors in our previous relationship with humanity. We offer complete restoration of membership with enhanced status and privileges." Hannah looked at the assembled delegates, representatives of species that had voted to cage humanity just 4 years ago. The same beings who had called humans too violent, too dangerous, too young to be trusted with freedom. Enhanced privileges, she repeated slowly. You mean the same relationship where you tell us what we can do, where we can go, how we should live? Counselor Yith Karen of the Merchant Guild shifted nervously. The situation has changed. Your people's actions against the Devourer fleet have shown us capabilities we did not fully understand before. Understand? Admiral So Young stepped forward. Her radiation-adapted eyes glowed with inner light that made the council delegates look away uncomfortably. You called us monsters for being willing to fight. Those same monster qualities just saved your civilizations from extinction. Hannah raised her hand for quiet. When she spoke, her voice carried the authority of someone who had helped guide humanity through the impossible. The Galactic Council tried to put humanity in a cage, she said. You wanted us to stay small and safe and predictable. Instead, you freed us to discover what we could really become. She gestured toward the great windows, showing New Terra's strange beauty. Humans with skin like living metal worked on structures that existed partly in normal space and partly in dimensions that hurt to think about. We do not need your permission to exist. We do not need your approval to grow. We do not need your protection to survive. But the galaxy is big enough for those who want to reach beyond what they thought was possible. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Alliance of Free Worlds welcomes any species ready to embrace challenge instead of comfort, growth instead of staying the same. The council delegates looked at each other with confusion and growing fear. This was not the desperate reunion they had expected. You are refusing our generous offer? Vexthurian asked, its crystal form pulsing with disbelief. We are offering something better, Hannah replied calmly. True partnership between equals. Join us in pushing boundaries instead of hiding behind them. But understand, the age of council control over this galaxy is finished. As news of the human response spread through galactic communication networks, something unexpected began to happen. Within days, dozens of species started requesting information about joining the Alliance of Free Worlds. The Zeltharian outer colonies, long oppressed by their conservative crystal elders, voted to leave the council and join humanity. Remote mining colonies of a dozen different species sent messages asking about human adaptation technologies. Young beings from across the galaxy began arriving at human worlds, begging to undergo the treatments that would let them survive on impossible planets. They wanted to be part of something that pushed beyond the safe boundaries their parents had accepted. Standing on her observation deck, Hannah watched new ships arriving every day, species that had never talked to humans before. Rebels from council worlds. Independent colonies tired of being told what they could not do. The Vorthack Youth delegation was particularly interesting. Unlike their smoke-like elders who floated safely in glass containers, these young Vorthack had modified themselves to exist in normal atmosphere. They wanted to learn how to live on solid worlds, to experience gravity and weather and all the dangerous things their people had given up long ago. Director Admiral So Young said, joining her at a window, long-range sensors are picking up more ships. It looks like 3 more species want to send diplomatic missions. Hannah nodded, watching a group of human children play zero-gravity tag in the space between the station's outer rings. These children would grow up thinking that living between stars was normal, that adapting to impossible conditions was just another part of life. Humanity had been cast out of the Galactic Council as dangerous exiles. They were returning to the galaxy as pioneers, showing others that the only real limits were the ones you accepted. The universe was about to discover what was possible when beings refused to stay in their cages.